Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Bhagavad Gita class. Let me send a message on WhatsApp saying class has started. Okay. Welcome to the Bhagavad Gita class. We are continuing chapter 18 today, and we are in the most important section of chapter 18. And in fact, we are in the most important section of the entire Bhagavad Gita. So please pay very careful attention. This class, and if we go to the next one, I'm not sure how much time it will take. We still have a lot of verses and important verses to cover. So today's class, and if we go into the next one, then these are going to be the most important classes of the entire session. So please pay very careful attention. We will start first with Maṅgalācaraṇa. So I will share the screen. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupah Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutah Padkamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha. Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam. Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Jagadguru Śrīla Prabhupāda ki jai. Okay, so we are starting with the second half of 18th chapter. I'll once again share my screen. Okay, so the conclusion begins. So what we covered so far in chapter 18 is there are many. So chapter 18 begins with the distinction between sannyasa or karma sannyasa and karma phala tyāga. And Śrī Kṛṣṇa is saying that karma phala tyāga is better than karma sannyasa. And then he goes on to describe that how to basically perform karma in a way that is sattvic, where doing karma phala tyāga is automatically or naturally becomes the tendency. So then he goes into describing the doer, the action, and the motivation behind the action, the intelligence, the determination, and the result of action. All this is described from the perspective of sattvic Rajasic and Tamasic points of view. So basically, and then Śrī Kṛṣṇa is saying that all this is still at a material level. So even when you are doing karma, and since the instruction is to do karma phala tyāga, it's not karma tyāga or karma sannyas is the technical term that is used, then any kind of action will have faults. And then he speaks this very nice verse, which is verse number 46. So then he describes the various varnas, brahmana, kshatriya, vaishya, shudra, etc. But he says that all of these 46, 47, and 48, and 49, all of those say that all these activities, I'm just giving a summary of the first half of chapter 18. All of these activities, even if you do them in the mode of goodness, will be faulty to some level, more or less. Of course, in tamasic, rajasic, it's more, and sattvic is less, but still there will be faults. And therefore, in 46th verse, he says, by worship of the Lord, who is the source of all beings and who is all pervading, a man can attain perfection through performing his own work. So it's better to do the action that you are supposed to do, whether it is your duty or whether it is the action that you have taken an interest or taken a liking to doing out of your swabhav or prior conditioning. Better to do that action than trying to change your conditioning, your swabhava, and offer it all to the Lord. There is a very key word here, tam abhyarchya. So tam abhyarchya means that swakarmana tam abhyarchya siddhim vindati manavaha. So by offering the results of all the actions to tam, means to Bhagavan, one can attain success. So that is what is being said so far, that it's better to perform your own duties properly, offer them to Bhagavan, rather than trying to do something else, which is not your natural inclination. So for Arjuna, natural inclination is to fight, and he has been preparing for this for many years. Suddenly, in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, he gets this thought that I should quit, which is unnatural for him. And to that, Śrī Kṛṣṇa is saying, don't do these unnatural things. Do it with the mood of bhakti or with the mood of offering it to Bhagavan. So that entire thought will be matured in the next verse. So this 50th verse now we are going to enter into. And 50th verse is extremely important because it is the connection from the material to the spiritual. So far, all these 6 things that have been discussed are discussed from the angle of mode of goodness, sattva, rajas, and tamas. These are all material. Good means very good, very commendable, very appreciated, which is mode of goodness, but still it is material. One will get very good results out of it. One could go to Swarga and enjoy. All that is good, but it is still material and will keep one bound in the material world. That is the discussion so far. Now, Śrī Kṛṣṇa says, having come to that level, doing your duty in this way, and we are all living in body, material body, we have to do our duty. There is no need to do karma sannyas or trying to stop our activities. Do your duty so far, and now he says how that is going to lead to a spiritual result. So this is the connection of doing your duty in the mode of goodness, but now transcending the mode of goodness and rising to the spiritual destination. So that is the discussion coming up now in the 50th verse. So verse number 50, 18.50. I hope all of you have your Bhagavad Gitas. So please open it on page, I don't know, whatever page your edition has, depending on the size, font, binding, etc. Pages may be different, but verse 18.50. This is the link between material to spiritual. So 50th verse is the link. You can say it's neither in part A or part B of chapter 18. If we are to divide chapter 18 into two parts, this is the link. All right. So I will read verse number 50. Siddhim prapto yatha brahma tathapnoti nibodha me samasenaiva kaunteya nishtha jnanasya ya para. So, siddhim prapto yatha brahma. So, the sentence is broken up at yatha. Siddhim prapto yatha. That brahma tatha apnoti nibodhame. Nibodhame means now I will tell you. Now I will tell you what? How siddhim prapto yatha. How one who has attained victory over the reactions of his work. So first do the work in the mode of goodness and then offer it to Bhagavan. So in this way, one has attained victory over or siddhi over the reactions of work. One has done karma phala tyāga. All right. You have done karma in the mode of goodness. Will there be phala? Yes or no? Shalu Mataji, will there be phal?
Yes, there will be phal still.
There will be phal. What kind of phal? Sweet or sour?
It will be sweet phal if it's in mode of goodness.
Yes. So doing activity mode of goodness will result in sweet phal. But now attaining victory over that sweet phal is by giving up or offering that to Bhagavan. One attains victory over the sweet phal. So one has attained victory. Now Śrī Kṛṣṇa will say Brahma. So the Brahma is in the previous line according to the meter. Siddhim prapto yatha Brahma tatha apnoti nibodhame. Please hear how you will attain the spiritual destination, which is Brahman, after having attained victory over the reactions of your work. Samasena eva kaunteya. I will explain this in brief. So he's going to say that I will explain this whole thing in brief of how you will attain Brahman, which is nishtha jnanasya ya para. Jnanasya, of jnana. So all this discussion of doing your work in mode of goodness, etc., is the preliminary part of Jnana Yoga. Because Jnana Yoga is preparing one for how to do actions that do not result in any reactions. So, Nishtha Jnanasya ya para means the highest. So, what is the stage of doing actions or in a way that is the highest as per Jnana Yoga? So, as per Jnana, what is the best way to do actions? I am going to tell you now. So, in the next three verses, Śrī Kṛṣṇa is going to describe the stage of existence of someone who is living in this world, but is completely at the stage or ready for the stage of attaining Brahman. So, by continuously performing one's duty, nishkama karma, one can attain to that highest stage of the eligibility of jnana, nishtha jnanasya ya para. And in the next three verses, Śrī Kṛṣṇa is going to describe the state of eligibility. Kalpate, Brahma bhūyāya kalpate will be there in the 53rd verse, saying that this is the eligibility for attaining the Brahman realization. Brahma bhūyāya kalpate. So we'll discuss the details of these three verses. So the basic point is complete detachment from matter and material dualism, how one can attain. Now, for those who are, just to summarize, this is not the path that Śrī Kṛṣṇa will recommend from Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita, the path is direct bhakti. So right now, Śrī Kṛṣṇa is describing through jnana and giving up the results of your activities, how one can attain liberation or Brahman. And the highest that one can attain through this path is Brahman realization. So that is what is being described by Śrī Kṛṣṇa. And he will also say later, this is the Guhya. So first time Śrī Kṛṣṇa is going to give a level. Guhya, then Paramātmā realization, he will give the classification Guhyatara, means more confidential. And finally, he will say Guhyatama for Bhakti. So all this is coming up. So right now we are at the Brahman realization stage through Jnana, which arises from karma, phala, tyāga. So that is the connection of the whole sort of topic at discussion or being discussed here. I hope it is clear. Yes, we have a question from Raj Vidya Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, this movement is from a karma, nishkam karma to akarma, or nishkam karma and just phal tyāga?
Sorry, I didn't get, I heard the terms. What's the question you are asking?
So that there is a transition happening. Is it happening from nishkam karma to akarma? The definitions that we studied earlier.
Nishkama karma and akarma are one and the same. Nishkama karma is akarma. How it leads to a spiritual destination is what is being discussed.
Okay.
Is that clear?
Okay.
Nishkama karma itself as such is not a spiritual destination, or you cannot do nishkama karma when you are liberated. Correct? Nishkama karma means this is material karma we are talking about. Do you do material karma in liberated state or in an embodied state?
Embodied state only.
Embodied state, which means you are not yet liberated.
Yes.
Yes. Then, but by doing this, you are preparing yourself to be liberated.
Okay.
Yes or
Okay.
no?
Yeah.
So that is the transition being described here.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. Is that clear?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
All right. So now that stage or that state of a person who has completely performed Nishkama Karma Yoga, and why we add the word yoga is because the intent is for spiritual realization or spiritual attainment or Brahman attainment. He is doing for that reason, for that, that is the motivation why he is doing Nishkama Karma Yoga. So that is why it is called yoga. And now he is becoming eligible. This is the final state or the highest state of a person who has performed this stage of Nishkama Karma Yoga throughout his whatever period of life. So that state is being described very nicely by Śrī Kṛṣṇa in these 3 verses, 51, 52, and 53. Is everybody on the same page? Okay. So what is verse number 51 to 53 describing? It is describing the highest stage in the material body, while in the material body, of someone who has performed this akarma or Nishkama Karma Yoga and is ready for Brahman realization. Okay. That is the end state of this living entity or this embodied living entity. Now, 12 characteristics are being described of this, and one of them will have 6 sub-characteristics. So you can say 12 and 6, 18, or whatever way you want to say. But 12 characteristics are going to be described in these 3 verses. So the first one is 4 characteristics, one in each line. Buddhaya vishuddhaya yukto bhityatmanam niyamya cha shabdadin vishayam tyaktva raga dvesha vyudasya cha. Okay, so 4 characteristics in the first verse, one in each line. Buddhaya vishuddhaya yukto. So buddhi vishuddhi. So his buddhi has become shuddha. So which means he has purified his intelligence by being engaged in this way. So when one is working without the proprietorship over the results, one's intelligence is purified. So that is the first one. His intelligence is now completely purified. He knows what does it mean for intelligence, by intelligence purification. The intelligent thing is to not be attached to the results, because results are so temporary. They will come and go, and it will give rise to all kinds of rajasic tendencies and so on, and it will take me downhill. And I have been working so hard to go uphill. Let me not go down. So that is intelligence. So basically, to give up proprietorship over results is the intelligent path, and his intelligence has been purified. Next, dhrityatmanam niyamya cha, that by such determination, one has niyamya atmanam, one has regulated his mind. So his mind is completely regulated and determined. So his mind has become a friend. Just like in 6th chapter, 6th verse says, a controlled mind is a friend. So his mind has become a perfect friend of him. It is fully controlled and does not even offer, hey, we can be doing this. Instead of doing Bhagavad Gita class, we can go watch something, some movie or whatever, a basketball game or whatever, why just eat salad even though it is sattvic? We can eat some other nonsense and it tastes much better and is cheaper and all those other things, but it's not sattvic, it's not prasad. So the mind does not even offer such alternatives. The mind is completely attuned with the higher purpose. Then Shabda Adin Vishayam Styaktva, one has given up the Vishaya. Vishaya means the sense objects, like Shabda Adi. Shabda means sweet words or sweet music. Sweet music is a Vishaya for which Indriya. It is a Vishaya for the ears. Ears like to hear sweet music. So Shabda Adin Vishaya Tyaktva, one has given up all the sweet things for various Indriyas. Adi. So just like for the ears, for the eyes, for the tongue, which is the biggest one, and so on. And the mind is obviously the biggest one, which is coming next. Raga Dvesha Vyudasya cha. So Vyudasya means again Tyaktva or given up. Raga and Dvesha, like and dislike. Dislike is also a kind of like. It is just a negative like. You say, I don't like this person. So it's also a like. Don't like is also a like. So all kinds of likes and dislikes are given up. So at the mind level, at the Vishaya level, or at the sensory, the gross senses, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and touch. I think I covered all 5. So that is all given up. One is completely neutral. There is no likes and dislikes. There is no hankering for sense objects. The mind is completely controlled, doesn't even offer ideas which are misaligned with the spiritual goal. Mind and intelligence are completely aligned. So that's the first verse. 4 characteristics are given there. Next verse, 5 characteristics are given. Vivikta sevi labhvashi yadvakaya manasaha dhyana yoga paro nityam vairagyam samupashritaha. So first of all, we have to see in the next several verses, a large part of this whole thing is whose ashraya we have taken. Okay, Bhagavan will say, Maam ekam sharanam vraja in the end. So that is taking ashraya of Bhagavan. Here, one is taking ashraya of other things, even though good things, but ashraya. So that is one theme to just keep in the back of your mind. Anyway, coming back, 5th characteristic, Vivikta sevi. Vivikta sevi means living in a secluded place. Vivikta sevi laghvashi. So to one who eats less or eats in a controlled way, does not hog like a hog. And he has yat vakaya manasaha. And one has controlled the BMW. Vak is the words, kaya is the body, B, and manasaha is the M. So mind, body, and words, BMW, has been controlled. Yat vak kaya manasaha. So that is the seventh one. So fifth is Vivikta Sevi, sixth is Lagvashi, and seventh is Yat vak kaya manasaha. Eighth one is Dhyana Yoga Paro Nityam, always absorbed in Dhyana Yoga. So always absorbed in the meditation of, or in the dhyana. And the ninth one is Vairagyam Samupashritaha. One is completely has taken shelter of the principle of detachment or Vairagya. So these are the 9 characteristics. Then 10, 11, and 12 will come. The 10th one has 6 subparts. So it is Vimuchya. So let me read the verse. Ahankaram balam darpam kamam krodham parigraham vimuchya. So vimuchya of these, vimuchya nirmama shanto brahma bhuyaya kalpate. So vimuchya means giving up of these 6 things. Ahankaram, balam, darpam, kamam, krodham, parigraham. So we have discussed all of these terms. Every single term has appeared earlier. So giving up or being completely detached from ahankar, false ego. Balam, use of strength or acquiring strength, material strength. Darpa means false pride. Kama, all kinds of material desires. Krodha, anger. And parigraha is accumulation. So accumulating things. I want this, I want that, I want that. And once you have obtained it, in a very short time, you want something else because you have obtained and it does not give. It's only temporary happiness it gives, and then you want the next thing. So all this vimuchya means being completely free from these 6 tendencies. 6 tendencies: ahankara, balam, darpam, kamam, krodham, and parigraham. Then nirmama, very important, nothing is mine. So living completely by the Ishavashya principle. Ishavashyam idam sarvam yad kincha jagatyam jagat. That nothing belongs to me, everything belongs to Ishvara. So that is nirmama. I don't own anything. I am, if at all, a temporary caretaker. And shanta. Shanta means completely cessation is the way. One, shanta means peaceful, but shanta means cessation. Just like, we say when a person dies, we say kya bolte hain? Sharir shant ho gaya. It doesn't mean that sharir has become peaceful in that sense. Shant ho gaya means that it has ceased to be active. So activity has ceased. So Shanta doesn't mean death here. Shanta means the cessation of all the gunas, which means not even the mode of goodness, or of course rajas or tamas. So all those have been Shanta. There is no hankering to be even in the mode of goodness, that I want to be a good person. Doesn't mean I want to be a good person, doesn't mean I want to be a bad person. It means I want to rise above being attached to being a good person. Attachment to being a good person is also an attachment. Giving up all that to cease, cessation of all such desires of goodness, of passion, ignorance, everything. Okay, so everything has become Shanta. So nirmamaha shanto brahma bhuyaya kalpate. For Brahma, for the attaining the Brahman stage, brahma bhuyaya kalpate means one has become eligible. Now one is just at the last step of attaining Brahman realization. As soon as one will quit the body will merge into Brahman. One will become Brahman realized. Okay. All right. I'm looking at my notes to see what else I may have missed or wanted to say. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, more or less, we have covered everything. So these are the 12 qualities of a person who is eligible for Brahman realization. So, purport by, not purport, translation by Śrīla Prabhupāda, Śrīla Prabhupāda ki jai. Being purified by his intelligence, that is, buddhaya vishuddhaya yukto, and controlling the mind with determination, that is, dhrityatmanam niyamyacha. Giving up the objects of sense gratification, shabdadin vishayam styaktva. Being freed from from attachment and hatred, raga dvesho vyudasyacha. One who lives in a secluded place, vivikta sevi, eats little, laghvashi, who controls his body, mind, and power of speech. Yad vak kaya manasaha. I'm reading Śrīla Prabhupāda's translation and quoting all the Sanskrit lines. Who is always in trance, dhyana yoga paro nityam, and who is detached, vairagyam samupashritaha, free from 6 things: false ego, ahankaram, false strength, balam, false pride, darpam, lust, kamam, anger, krodham, the acceptance of material things or accumulation of material things, parigraham, free from false proprietorship. So vimuchya, so free from, so that is vimuchya, free from false proprietorship, nirmama, and peaceful, shantaha or shanto. Such a person is certainly elevated to the position of self-realization. Brahma bhuyaya kalpate. That's the translation by Śrīla Prabhupāda. Okay, so now comes the Brahman realization stage itself. So that is the 54th verse, the stage of Brahman realization. So this has 4 parts. I think I have 5, but 4. So Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. So Brahma Bhuta, becoming one with the Brahman. But our acharyas in the next verse commentary will describe what does Brahma Bhuta really mean. But here, for this Bhagavad Gita is a universal Vedic textbook, and it is therefore very heavily adopted by both impersonal line as well as the personalist line. So Brahma Bhuta means merging into Brahman, and they like this aspect very much, the impersonalists merging into Brahman. Prasannatma, and then the soul becomes completely joyful. This is the Ananda stage. So one becomes completely peaceful and completely joyful. But the main point is in this, like we have discussed earlier, that this joy is basically the absence of suffering. One has suffered so much in the material life, and those who are following the impersonalist path suffer more because of vairagya, because the focus is on vairagya and the motivation is vairagya. Vairagya is not coming out of a love for something else. There is no higher taste. The highest taste is vairagya itself, and there is therefore suffering. And the moment you kind of are relieved from the suffering itself, there is so much joy as the absence of, as experienced by the absence or the removal of that suffering. So first there was material suffering. Again, there is material suffering in vairagya, but suffering through vairagya. First there was suffering by asakti, attachment. Then there is suffering by vairagya. Both are at the material level. So there is suffering one way or the other, but they are just waiting for the final prize. The final prize is relief from asakti of suffering or the vairagya type of suffering. And that is what is providing the prasannatma. So one becomes completely free from suffering. And na shochati, na kankshati. There is no material desires or lamentations. Shochati means lamentation, and kanksha. Kanksha is like we use the word in Hindi, akanksha. So kaṅkṣati. So there is no desires or lamentation. One is perfectly in bliss with what one with the present situation. And then samaha sarveshu bhuteshu, that one is equally disposed to all living entities. So there is no rag or dvesh again. One is completely neutral to everything, to all living entities. Mad bhaktim labhate param. And finally, at that stage of Brahman realization, one attains bhakti. See, bhakti has to be there always. Bhakti is a necessary ingredient for spiritual realization. So Bhagavan says, okay, you have suffered so much. You have gone through so much vairagya. And you have attained this state of equanimity as described in the first 3 verses, those 12 points. It's an extremely hard state to attain. But you have worked so hard to attain that stage. I will give you a free gift, bonus. Even though you did not do any bhakti, I will give you bhakti at the final stage. So Bhagavan gives bhakti. Chalo, theek hai, fine. I will give you bhakti. Even if you did not do it, I will give it to you. He attains that bhakti. So that also connects to that verse 7.19. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate. That either you realize it yourself at the very advanced stages, and if you are 1 in a trillion who didn't, then Bhagavan himself gives. Mad bhaktim, they attain bhakti to me. So that is the meaning of this verse. So the next, I'm just giving you the sort of the next lead, which is this punchline. Why wait so long to attain the stage of bhakti? Bhakti you have to get anyway. Better to take the shorter, easier path by adopting bhakti while in the embodied state itself. Why suffer so much? And this is why Śrī Kṛṣṇa had said the verse 12.5. 12.5 is they take so much trouble while in the embodied state to attain this liberation through the impersonal path. What was 12.5? 12.5 said, Klesho adhikataras tesham avyakta asakta chetasam. So one who are those who are asakta or attached to the avyakta, the impersonal form, Klesho adhikataras tesham. Unke liye tesham, for them, adhik, too much klesha they have to suffer. Okay? And that's why it says avyakta hi gatir dukkham. That whole path is, first they were suffering from material hell. Now they are suffering from vairagya hell. It is very troublesome. And deha vadbhir avapyate. For the embodied, while you are in the embodied stage, they go through all this trouble. So why? That's what Krishna says in 12th chapter also. Why you have to do all this? Just do bhakti while you are in embodied state also. Then that will become much easier. But anyway, you have to do attain bhakti. Finally, if you somehow attain the peak, I will give you bhakti at the end. So why you have to do all this circus? So that's the point which will be made in the next verse. But here the point is mad bhaktim labhate param. He also gets bhakti as a bonus gift, as a free gift. All right. And Śrīla Baladeva Vidyābhūṣaṇa mentions this is also, he makes a very fine distinction. What they finally get is bhāva bhakti, still not prema bhakti. But anyway, we'll leave that for later. But I just wanted to add that to be technically correct and aligned with what our previous acharyas have said. So they still, bhāva bhakti is also sadhya. It's not sadhana. So they attain the sadhya, means that which is to be attained. They attain the final result, sadhya, but still it is lower. And the next higher will come through bhakti. So that will come, Krishna will say that directly in the 55th verse. Okay. So that is the explanation. Let me see anything else. Yes. Okay. Great. Rajvidya Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Ragatmika Mataji. Hare
So,
Krishna.
Prabhuji, this one, 1854, we are talking about stages of Brahman realization. So we have this Brahmeti,
No,
Paramatmeti.
We are not talking about, I just want to be precise. We're not talking about stages of Brahman realization. We are talking about the characteristics of Brahman realization. Okay, go ahead.
So
There are no stages here.
not here, but we have discussed it earlier that Brahman, after Brahman there is Paramatma, and then after Paramatma there is Bhagavan realization, right?
Correct.
That,
yes. But
yeah,
one
so
doesn't. Go ahead.
But here we are not talking about Paramatma stage at all.
No.
Directly Bhakti aa jayegi. So is my understanding correct? After Brahman, we are directly going to Bhagavan from here. Why? Because attains my Bhakti, we are saying that at the end.
No, so Bhakti can be there in the Brahman realization also. Okay, one doesn't go from Brahman realization to Vaikuṇṭha or to Goloka Vṛndāvana. One stays in Brahman. That is the sthāyi sthiti. That is the permanent situation or the permanent position of the living entity. He doesn't go anywhere up. That is first point. And then in that state, he performs bhakti. So now, I think what is causing the confusion, I will at least say this, that the impersonalist school says that one merges into Brahman. Okay, that's why I have put it in brackets, merging into. The personalists or the Brahmavadis, which are sort of not, we recognize their correctness, that you attain the Brahman state. We don't advocate it as personalists, but we say that even in the Brahman stage, you maintain your individuality. So this will come if you read the purport of verse number 55. I can probably find, it's a long purport, but Śrīla Prabhupāda says that they say, like it said, like Brahman is like an ocean and Jiva is like a drop of water. When a drop of water is dropped into the ocean, there is no more drop of water as an individual drop. It merges and then you cannot find that drop. Can you? You cannot find a drop which has merged into the ocean. That is the impersonalist or Advaita school, which that is the understanding they follow. In the Dvaita school, also there is Brahman realization, but there Śrīla Prabhupāda writes, and this is coming directly from the explanation of Śrīla Baladeva Vidyābhūṣaṇa, that one is more like a fish. When he is in the river, let's say the river means material world, and he goes to the ocean, which is the spiritual world, the fish stays the individual fish. He was a fish in the river, and he stays a fish in the ocean. So he maintains his individuality. Now, once the fish is in the ocean, he can do bhakti. So when the Jivatma was in the material world, he was not doing bhakti. He was just doing jnana or vairagya. And through the process we discussed, he attained that state. And when he attains the Brahman realization, he stays an individual jiva. He does not merge and lose his individuality. No, he stays an individual and attains Bhakti of Bhagavān and does bhakti in the Brahman state. No problem. Is that clear?
Yes, Prabhu, some extent, but that Paramatma stage is not applicable here at all.
No, Paramatma stage means one attains Vaikuṇṭha. One attains the planet of Paramatma, which is Vaikuṇṭha Lok.
So also because this stage, the bhakti comes after this embodiment. So there is no heart and there is no Paramatma in the heart. So the sublimation happens.
Sorry, what is... So bhakti can be done in all three stages, in Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. Bhakti can be done in all three. So now can you tell me what is your question?
Just adding. So I'm saying that this stage of bhakti comes for Brahman realization. This stage comes after death. So there is no body anymore.
Yes, but one enjoys bliss through the senses of Bhagavan. through the senses of Bhagavan as Brahman in the Brahman conception. So one does not have his own senses, but if one does not have senses, how is he Prasannatma? So he is Prasannatma because he is enjoying bliss through Bhagavan's senses. That is the understanding.
Right. So I was saying because there is no heart, there is no Paramatma in the heart. So there is no Paramatma realization happening here. It directly bhakti happens.
This is Brahman realization, and there is bhakti in the jiva.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and bhakti doesn't mean at this stage that you have to do japa or kirtana and so on. Bhakti means simply the surrender to Bhagavan, that realization that Bhagavan is supreme. Brahman is the Brahman form of that same Bhagavan, and I am surrendered to Bhagavan. That is bhakti. Okay.
Okay, bro. Thank you.
Hare
So
Krishna.
one may not have to do acts of bhakti as opposed to a bhakta who attains, let us say, the Goloka planet. There he actually does bhakti to Bhagavan. If one becomes a Gopa, friend of Bhagavan, he may play with Bhagavan, or he may bring food for Bhagavan, offer him food, or so many things. So that is actually acts of bhakti, which we are more familiar with. But here, those things don't happen. It's just a state of surrender to Bhagavan, which is also bhakti. But one attains that as given by Bhagavan in this state. So it is a free gift by Bhagavan. Okay. Shalu Mataji, you had a question?
Prabhuji, I was just saying, so is it okay to say here that the jivas who are merging into the Brahman, probably their journey ends there? They are not the jivas that are going to have the Bhagavan relation, because they are different jivas.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the end point. There are three different end points: Brahman, Paramātmā, and Bhagavan. Or Brahman realization, Paramātmā realization, and Bhagavan realization. All right. Okay. So, now 18.55. So now from Jnana, okay, you have another question?
Yeah, bro, one discussion came up. So, Vaikuṇṭha, Ayodhyā dhāma and Dvārakā dhāma, they are Vaikuṇṭhas or they are not Vaikuṇṭhas?
No. Well, Vaikuṇṭha is a generic term, but you don't attain Ayodhyā dham or Dvārakā dham without bhakti. They are attained by direct bhakti of Bhagavan. So they are the result of the Bhagavan realization, not Paramātmā realization.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, but highest level is Goloka Vṛndāvana, right, Prabhuji?
So there are so many. So just to be very clear, now we are going very much. Have you completed Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu via the Bhakti Shastri yet? Both of you?
No, Prabhuji, not yet.
No. Okay. So we are going straight into Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu topics now, okay, through this discussion. But highest is Goloka Vṛndāvana. Yes, I will say according to Gauḍīya Vaiṣṇava Sampradaya. So there is always Sampradaya Bhed. So every Sampradaya will have its own, what is the most cherished destination. And according to Gauḍīya Vaiṣṇava Sampradaya, according to our Acharyas, we should aspire for Goloka Vṛndāvana and nothing less. Okay, now don't go and tell this to Shri Sampradaya person. He will say, what Goloka Vṛndāvana? Krishna is an incarnation of Narayan. Narayan is the highest. So, or don't go and tell this to Ramanandi. He will say Ayodhyā dham is highest. So one thing I have said repeatedly, that in deep spiritual understanding, one has to be okay with multiple realities. Now, when we are used to saying, when you say highest, mathematically there can be one highest, correct? How can there be two highests? right? If I ask you which is the tallest mountain in the world, you will say Mount Everest only. How can there be two tallests? Then you will say, let us measure each of them. Whichever number comes up to be more, then that one is highest. How can there be two? In spiritual world or in spiritual understanding, it does not work that way. And we have to be okay with multiple realities. Okay? Please get this very clear in your mind. So, according to Gauḍīya Vaiṣṇava teachings, and you are following Gauḍīya Vaiṣṇava, you have taken Diksha in the Gauḍīya Vaiṣṇava Sampradaya in that line. So, for you, the highest is Goloka Vṛndāvana. And Krishna is the highest personification of the absolute truth. And Sri Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu says, now when you say Krishna, Narayana, Rama, etc., they are based on the rasa that they can reciprocate with to the devotees. And from the point of view of rasa, which we will cover in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Śrī Kṛṣṇa is the highest, because he can reciprocate with so many types of devotees. There is this famous verse in 10th canto, Mallana Ashnair, 10th canto, chapter 44. What verse number? 17, I think, or 13, or something like that. Mallana. How Bhagavan Krishna is viewed so intensely, with that intense emotion. It could be positive or negative, both favorable and unfavorable. But the point is that the emotion is extremely intense. Like Kamsa, Bhayat. He was so afraid, whole life, ever since he heard that thing, that the 8th son of Devaki will kill you. He has been meditating on Krishna, and first time Krishna he is seeing in front of him, it's like, oh my God, this is the end. What verse number? 17. So 10.44.17, 43.17, when Shri Krishna enters the arena, Kamsa is looking at him with so much bhaya, whereas there are also these gopas and all, they are there. They are looking at this, apna hi to apna chokra hai, apna, apna brajwasi hai, to usko to hum, apna dost hai, is apna yaar. So they are looking at him like a friend. And then the ladies are looking at him as such a beautiful person, he's like the most beautiful, and like that. So 12, or most of the 12 rasas are described there. Now that is not true for any other form, personal form of the absolute truth. And Krishna would reciprocate in that way. For example, Bhagavan Śrī Rāma. If other ladies come and say, you are so beautiful, please, accept me as your husband, what will Lord Ram say? You know what he said. There was one lady like that, Surpanakha, and you know what happened to her. She lost her nose. But in case of Śrī Kṛṣṇa, he accepted everyone, the 16,000 girls, or the princesses who were captured by Narkasur. They married Śrī Kṛṣṇa. He enjoyed with Kubja as well. So he can even enjoy in a marriage or non-marriage. Again, that's another deep topic. All those relationships. So based on that criteria, there is no other personification of the absolute truth other than Śrī Kṛṣṇa, who can reciprocate with devotees in such an intense way. And that is why Shri Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Shri Rupa Goswami says that he is the topmost. So I hope I have given that understanding, and why Gauḍīya Vaishnavas say that Śrī Kṛṣṇa is the topmost, even more than Shri Narayana or Narsinghadev. Narsinghadev, he cannot even, Lord Narayan can do Madhurya with Mother Lakshmi. Okay? But only as Swakiya, so that Parakiya aspect is absent, which Shri Krishna can do. But Sri Nrsimhadev cannot do Madhurya. What happened when Lakshmi ji was asked, please approach Nrsimhadev? What did she say? No, he's not my husband. I don't know. Right? So the only bhāva that is applicable to Sri Nrsimhadev is dasya, nothing else. So there is limitations, but with Krishna, there is no limitation at all. All right. So again, this is Sampradaya specific.
Thank you, Roji. Hare Krishna.
All right. So that was a slight deviation, but we'll come back to the main topic. So 55th verse. So now Krishna is saying by why you have to do so much hard work for attaining liberation. Simply bhakti would have been enough. And even if you are attached to Gyan, the karma Gyan path, okay, as we have discussed, Bhagavad Gita is showing how karma yoga path and Jnana yoga are basically, two levels of the same path. If at all you are so attached to that, do bhakti Jnana. And that way you will actually be doing bhakti only, because it is Jnana Mishra Bhakti. So 55 is Jnana Mishra Bhakti, and 55 says, Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yashtasmi tattvataha tato mam tattvato gyatva viśate tadanantaram. So Bhaktya mam abhijanati. So bhaktas, by bhakti, I can be known, abhijanati. So in Brahman realization, one cannot. What is this pop-up? Looks like Zoom is doing some translation or something, and it says that it's asking me a question. Am I speaking in English or Hindi? Zoom is asking me. I don't know why. Anyway, because I use some Hindi words. So anyway, so bhaktya mam abhijanati. So by attaining Brahman realization, then yavan yash chasmi tattvataha. So in tattva, in Brahman realization, the most deepest tattva one does not understand, because that tattva, the deepest understanding of me, Krishna is saying, can only be attained by my bhakti. That is the point. Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tattvataha. So therefore one should do bhakti. So if you really want to know me through bhakti. Tato mam tattvato gyatva. And by then knowing me in this way, you will go to a higher destination. Viśate tad anantaram. You will enter into somewhere a higher destination. The gates of Vaikuṇṭha will open for you. That is a higher destination. But it doesn't mean that from Brahman you can go to Vaikuṇṭha. No, that is one final destination. Then you have worked all your lifetimes, so many lifetimes for that destination. You get that, that's it, period. But those who are embodied, while they still have a chance to do course correction, and one is studying Bhagavad Gita in the embodied state, Bhagavan is saying, why you want to do so much, take so much trouble? Do bhakti instead, and the benefit will be you will get a higher destination as well, and you will know me in essence, the deeper essence you will know of me through. And since you have the tendency for jnana, that also will be fulfilled. You will get jnana, but you will get my jnana, and for that you do bhakti. So that is the meaning or the summary of this verse. So only a bhakta can know me, or by bhakti, bhaktya. So by bhakti, which means a bhakta, mam abhijanati, can know me in essence, which is basically Krishna's personal form. And this has been discussed so many times before. In the 11th chapter, towards the end, Bhagavan says that this form is so rare to see, this personal form, whether it is Narayan, Chaturbhuj personal form, finally the Manushim Rupam, the two-handed human-like form is so rare to be seen. So that is the highest level, and it is what is being referred to here is Yavan Yaschasmi Tattvataha. And this is Bhakti Jnana. And then what you will get on knowing this personal aspect, Mam Tattvato Gyatva, Tato Mam Tattvato Gyatva, you will enter into my abode. Viśate tad anantaram. You will enter. So, into my abode. So, bhakti can be done in the Brahman stage. That is true. But by doing bhakti, why not attain a higher destination than Brahman? So, there is a higher destination. So, let's try for the higher destination, which is the Vaikuṇṭha Loka, which is being said here. So, this is through bhakti jnana. But Śrī Kṛṣṇa in the, so is that clear? I hope that is clear. And here in the purport, like for the previous discussion, yeah, I'll just read a small portion of the purport by Śrīla Prabhupāda since it is relevant to our discussion. Somewhere in the middle of the purport, right in the exact, I would say, middle of the purport, somewhere you can find this sentence. One should not mistakenly think that the word viśate means enters into me. Enters into me supports the monist theory that one becomes homogeneous with impersonal Brahman. No. Viśate means that one can enter into the abode of the Supreme Lord in one's individuality to engage in his association and to render service unto him. For instance, a green bird enters a green tree not to become one with the tree, but to enjoy the fruits of the tree. Impersonalists generally give the example of a river flowing into the ocean and merging. This may be a source of happiness for the impersonalist, but the personalist keeps his personal individuality like an aquatic means a fish or whatever, in the ocean. We find so many living entities within the ocean if we go deep. Surface acquaintance with the ocean is not sufficient. One must have complete knowledge of the aquatics living in the ocean depths. So, one who knows the deeper knowledge will realize that there are so many living entities in the ocean. But from the outside surface, if you look, ocean looks like one homogeneous, body, as if there is no variety in it. So even in Brahman, there are so many living entities existing as individuals. That is the point. And they are all in the mood of bhakti and ananda, prasannatma. So that is the state of those who attain Brahman realization according to Gauḍīya Vaiṣṇava philosophy. Every word that Śrīla Prabhupāda has written is perfectly substantiated by previous acharyas, especially Śrīla Baladeva Vidyābhūṣaṇa. All right. So that is verse number 55. ठीक है? Now 56. Direct bhakti. So why even Jnana Mishra Bhakti? Why? Let's do direct bhakti, Krishna says. And these are the famous 5 verses. Whenever I say famous 5, there used to be a novel, I think, for children, famous 5 or something. So famous 5 verses, out of which there are the famous 2.5 and the other famous 2.5. So whenever I say 2.5, you should remember these 2.5 verses and the next 2.5. Okay, so whenever I say the 2.5 verses of Bhagavad Gita, it means this one. All right, there is nowhere else where it is so clearly called out as the 2.5 verses. So these are the 2.5 verses of bhakti, direct bhakti to Śrī Kṛṣṇa, and Śrī Kṛṣṇa is describing for the very last time in detail the process of bhakti. He will explain it again in 65 and 66, but that is more at the essence level. This is here he is explaining in very sweet way. Again, 65 is also very sweet, pratijane prayosime, but here he is explaining also in a very sweet way. So the process of bhakti or direct bhakti. So we will read 56. So this is verse number 55 we covered, 56, 57 and 58 and a half, which means the first 2 lines of 58. The next 2.5 will be 58, next 2 lines C and D, 59 and 60. So those are the remaining 2.5. So the first 2.5 are telling direct bhakti. So let us read 56, 57, 58 and a half, means A and B. Sarva karmanyapi sada kurvano madvyapashrayaha. Again ashraya. Mad prasadat avapnoti shashvatam padamavyayam. Chetasa sarva karmani mai sanyasya matparaha. Buddhi yogam upashritya madchittah satatam bhava. Madchittah sarva durgani mat prasadat tarishyasi. So this is the 2.5 verses. So let's understand what these 2.5 verses are saying. So 56. Sarva karmanyapi sada kurvano madvyapashrayaha mat prasadat avapnoti shashvatam padamavyayam. So sarva karmani api sada kurvano madvyapashrayaha. So this whole thing has to be read together. So whatever sarva karmani api sada, sada means always, sarva karmani, all the activities, kurvano, that you are doing, how you should do, madvyapashrayaha, under my ashraya, considering myself to be your only shelter. Do all the activities. Okay. Mad prasadat avapnoti. And then if you do like this, what will happen? Mat prasadat, by my mercy. Prasad means mercy. So by my mercy, avapnoti, you will attain shashvatam padam avyayam, that supreme destination, which is permanent. It is shashvat. It is avyaya. It never destroys. It's permanent. It's eternal. It's indestructible. It's that highest destination you will attain. So no need to do all this jnana and all this path and other things. Just do your activities under my shelter. So take my shelter and then do the activities in the embodied state, in the material world, but do them for my pleasure. So you must know what Krishna likes, what he doesn't like. Do the activities for my pleasure. That's what it means. I will become happy with those activities, and by my blessings, by my mercy, mat prasadat, what you will attain? The same highest destination, which is being talked about here, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma, and so on. Why you have to do all that? Just take this easy path. That is what Śrī Kṛṣṇa is saying. Okay. Okay. Then Chetasa sarva, 57th verse. Chetasa sarva karmani mai sanyasya matparaha buddhi yogam upashritya madchittah satatam bhava. So Chetasa sarva karmani means for Chetasa Mai Sanyasya Matparaha. So basically, with what kind of mentality, what kind of attitude? The attitude is Mai Sanyasya Matparaha. By giving all the activities, all the actions that you are doing it for the pleasure of Śrī Kṛṣṇa. Mai Sanyasya, giving it up for my pleasure, which means doing the activities that pleases me under my protection. Mad paraha sarva karmani. Do all the activities in that way. That is called buddhi yogam upashritya. So that is buddhi yogam. Krishna said, dadami buddhi yogam 10.10. So this is buddhi yoga. He's saying that if you do all the activities like this, that is called buddhi yoga, and you have taken shelter of upashritya, taken shelter of buddhi yoga, mad chitta satatam bhava. In this way, always remain in my consciousness. So basically, Śrī Kṛṣṇa, these verses are basically the epitome of bhakti. Always being. What does Krishna say in 8.7? Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu maham anusmara yuddhacha. That is exactly what is being said here. That at all times be absorbed in me and then do the activities for my pleasure. Under my shelter, under my protection, he says, matparaha, he says, madvyapashrayaha, and all those things. And the result will be same thing what was said, shashvatam param, avapnoti shashvatam param avyayam. So that will be the result. Mad chitta satatam bhava. Always absorb your mind and heart in me. So with always that complete absorption, 24 hours a day, be in this consciousness. And then mad chitta sarva durgani, that in this chitta, in this consciousness, complete absorption of me, always whatever I'm doing for Krishna's pleasure. And then do your activities. It comes by practice. Okay, if you close your eyes and always absorb, and I ask you to read a book, how can you read a book? My eyes are closed. Just a small example. So by practice, you can be always absorbed in Krishna and do your activities, just like the Vrajvasis. They are always absorbed in Krishna and still doing the activities. So in the same way, always absorbed in Krishna, do the activities. What will happen? Sarva durgani mat prasadat. Again, mat prasadat is coming. So Krishna will give you the prasad, and he will take away something else also by his prasad. What will he take away? All the obstacles. Sarva durgani means obstacles. Sarva durgani tarishyasi. You will cross beyond. You will overcome all the obstacles also by Krishna's prasad. So by Krishna prasad, by complete absorption in Śrī Kṛṣṇa, one can overcome all the obstacles and attain the highest destination. So this is 100% bhakti. These 2.5 verses are the bhakti verses where Śrī Kṛṣṇa is saying, do the activities of the world, but always absorbed in my consciousness, always absorbed in my thoughts. This is 100% Krishna consciousness in bhakti. So these 2.5 verses are direct bhakti, the famous 2.5 verses where Śrī Kṛṣṇa is saying, do your activities in this world, but under my shelter, with my consciousness, under my protection. And as a result, I will, by my mercy, you will attain the highest destination. All your obstacles will be removed. What else we want? What else do we want? Okay. Now, atha, next line. Next comes the, so let's just, sorry, I didn't advance the slides. So, oh, I have so many slides on this. So let's go through it again. It's good revision. So I explained you, I'm going to explain again. So it's such an important part. There's no harm in explaining twice. So how to do all activities in complete Krishna consciousness. So do all activities under my shelter. With that, what does under my shelter mean? What should be the mood? The feeling should be, I cannot do anything myself fully. I can do it. It's not like I'm a dumbo or a lazy fellow, or not like that. But I know I cannot do it fully. But let me try. Just like all the monkeys, Vanar Sena, they knew that they can carry the rocks, but they didn't know if they will float or not. So they would put Ram's name, Lord Ram's name on each rock, which means I cannot do it fully, but by adding Ram's name, it will become successful. And the rocks floated. So they would put Lord Ram's name on each rock and they would float. So for everything, I need Krishna's support. That should be the mood of, that is called Madvyapashrayaha, under my shelter. And by my prasad, one attains the spiritual destination, the Param Padam or the Avyayam. Okay. So on our own strength, we cannot reach. By our own strength, the maximum we can reach is Brahman realization. And that too after extreme pain. One reaches Brahman realization. Finally, one gets bhakti. So then take bhakti initially itself and you can go much higher. So open your heart for Krishna and Krishna will open his doors for you. More things I have for this verse, 57th verse. That with the following mindset, one should do the duties, that give up the outcomes of all the activities to me, Śrī Kṛṣṇa says. So that is Mayi Sanyasya Matparaha Chetasa Sarva Karmani, all activities, Mayi Sanyasya Matparaha. Do them under my protection, Matparaha. Take shelter of Buddhi Yoga, that is Buddhi Yogam Upashritya, intelligence given by me. So what it means? By that intelligence, one knows what will please Krishna. If I do this, it will be better. If I do this, it will be better. Krishna will like it. So by my instructions coming from Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, and always being fully conscious of me, Mad Chittaha Satatam Bhava. So do all activities in total. This is 100% Krishna consciousness verse. And the result will be that if you do all the activities like this, by my grace, by my prasad, you will not only attain the highest destination, but you will also overcome all the obstacles. So basically, the instruction is to arrange or revolve our life, entire life around Śrī Kṛṣṇa. Okay. So that is those are the famous 2.5 verses. Now comes the next 2.5 verses, which tell the consequence of not doing so. So because we are so stubborn and obstinate, our mind is so stubborn, we don't want to completely give ourselves to Krishna. We don't have the faith. What if the obstacles don't go away? What if this? What if that? I need to take control of my own destiny. I need to take things in my own hands. I need to plan this, that. Giving ourselves in hands of Krishna is hard. I can totally get it. So that is why Śrī Kṛṣṇa is saying that if you don't trust me, if you don't take my shelter fully, then what will happen? Then you will be lost. You will think that you are going in the right direction, you will fall down. And in Arjuna's case, what it means is Arjuna thinks he's doing the right thing by quitting the battle. And ultimately, you will come back and fight because of your swabhava and you will lose the battle. Because you are not going to be fighting under my protection, knowing that I will protect you. You will be fighting because you think you will win. But on the other side, there are much bigger warriors and you will not be able to win. You will lose. Or even if you win, you will have all those guilt, sinful feelings, this, that. So whether you win or lose or whatever, you will be miserable. So basically, you will be miserable. Or if you don't come back and fight, if you quit, there you will be miserable. Thinking, why I didn't fight, I should have fought. All this, basically, whichever option you take, it will give you misery. Therefore, the best option is to take my shelter, and whatever is the outcome, you will be the happiest. You will attain the highest bliss, highest destination. That is the point. So next 2.5 verses, the material alternative and its consequences. So let us read so again, which are the 2.5 verses? After 55, 56, 57, 58.5. Now the remaining 2 lines of 58. Atha chetatvam ahankara na shrosyasi vinankshyasi, that is 58. 59. Yad ahankaram ashritya. So if you have taken ashraya of ahankar instead of my shelter, you are taking shelter of ahankar. I know better. What does Krishna know? I know better. Yad ahankaram ashritya na yotsya iti manyatsye mithyashya vyavasayaste prakritistvam niyoksyati स्वभावजेन कौन्तेय निबद्धः स्वेन कर्मणा कर्तुं न इच्छसि यन्मोहात् करिष्यस्य अवशोऽपि तत्. So next 2 lines, atha or but or otherwise, chetatvam ahankaran. So if out of ahankar, that I know better, or I don't trust Krishna fully, or maybe he's not Bhagwan, he may be a very smart person, speaks wise things, but even such people go wrong once in a while. What if he's wrong in this most important matter of my life? So why should I give myself or this big decision in his hands? I will make the decision based on my own logic. So that is the ahankar. Na shrosyasi vinankshyasi, and you will not listen. Na shrosyasi, if you do not listen to me, vinankshyasi, you will be lost, you will be destroyed. So in this way, yad ahankaram ashritya. So in this way, if you take ashraya of your ahankar and na yotsya iti manyase, and you say, I will not fight. I know what is better for me. I don't want to accumulate the sin of killing my own grandfather, my own guru, my cousins. I will not fight. Mithyesh vyavasayaste. And this is the vyavasaya, or this is the engagement of mithya. You don't know, but basically you are being fooled by your mind. This is all mithya. It's an illusion. Prakritis tvam niyokshyati, and you will sooner or later do the actions according to your prakriti. You will niyokshyati, you will get engagement, or you will engage yourself according to your prakriti. Right now you are getting this big spike, big feeling of forgiveness, or it's okay, I don't want to fight. This is a temporary against your prakriti. Your prakriti is kshatriya. After 2 days, you will say, what the heck? I want to go back and fight. Why did I quit? I really want justice. That is the kshatriya subhav. That is your prakriti. So if you go against your prakriti, you will be lost. Swabhavajena kaunteya nibaddha svena karmana. So the swabhav that you have, Arjuna, nibaddha svena karmana, which is coming from your past conditioned life and your activities, karmana. So you have So much lifetimes and lifetimes of conditioning, which is giving you your swabhava, your inherent nature. Kartum na ichhasi yan mohat. But in the moha, illusion, temporary illusion, in the spur of the moment, as we say, or impulsiveness. Oh, this is better. That is better. That is coming from your mind and ahankar. That impulsive decision making. You are saying that I want to do something else against your swabhava. Karishyasi avashopi tat. That, but you will ultimately come back to your swabhava only. Right now it is just impulsive. And you may win, you will still be unhappy. If you lose, you will be dead and unhappy. Either way, all the options in this case will lead to unhappiness and dissatisfaction, or you will not be satisfied. So this is the point. So it's not about taking shelter of Krishna for success. Then it's like a trade. Then it is not, that bhakti is not real bhakti. What bhakti it is? It is transactional bhakti. That by bhakti I will be successful. When one does bhakti of Krishna, the outcome one throws out of the window. The material outcome. That immediately becomes non-consequential. Whether material outcome in material terms is success or failure, in bhakti, the success is Krishna Prem, not material success. That will be guaranteed. The highest destination is guaranteed, but the outcome may be whatever, which will give ultimate, everlasting happiness and peace. So that is what one should aspire for, Śrī Kṛṣṇa is saying. Okay? Clear so far? Now, so I think I have some slides again for these. So last two slides, and then we will go solo. So 58.5. So that is the next two lines. If you decide to not fight or fight, whatever it is, but not in my consciousness. Okay, so you can choose whichever one you want, but basic thing is you are choosing to do something by your own mind, not by taking my shelter. Rather, as a ahankar, I will decide. Ignore my instructions. Then you will be lost or vanquished. You may still win the war. That's fine. But you will be not getting the spiritual destination, or you may also be left materially very dissatisfied. Oh, I won the war at what cost? The victory is tainted with blood. You may feel like that. And that too, the blood of my loved ones. What use is such a victory? Or if you lose, you will, and if you live, you may prepare for another war. And if you lose and die out of ahankar, you will take next birth. So all those options are undesirable. So this is not a threat by Krishna. Krishna is just stating the fact. This is how it is going to be. So it's not a threat. So Krishna is not putting a gun on Arjuna's head. We will see very soon, Śrī Kṛṣṇa will give an option to Arjuna. Now you do as you please. There is no threat. There is no force. Next. Verse 59 and 60. By your nature of a kshatriya, you will anyway come back to fight. There is, I know this, Krishna is saying, you are a natural kshatriya. Okay. But then when you come back, I am telling you to fight right now. But when you come back to fight out of your own desire, it will be out of material consciousness, not out of taking my shelter. So if you anyway will come back and fight, better thing is to take my shelter and fight rather than rejecting my shelter and fighting Fighting you will do anyway because you are Kshatriya, most likely. And better to do it with under my shelter instead of without my shelter. Okay, this will make all the difference. Okay, so don't take action out of your ahankar or your swabhav. That will just be your material illusion that you are doing the right thing. So action may be the same. Consciousness in which you do it makes all the difference. So that is the main message of Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is not advocating vairagya or sannyas. What it is advocating is bhakti, which is to do the actions in the world, material world, that are pleasing to Krishna and in Krishna consciousness, full Krishna consciousness. That is the main message of Bhagavad Gita. Okay, that was the last slide. Now from 18.61 to 78, we are entering into the most important section of Bhagavad Gita, and we will just go without, I don't want to put all this into slides because slides don't do justice. So now we will read or discuss from 61 onwards. So I will stop sharing. And just open your Bhagavad Gita and listen in the traditional way. So now we will go completely traditional from here. So ultimately, we should not need slides. And at the last moment of our life, when we are taking the last breath, we better remember the instructions of Krishna. We may better remember the names of Krishna. And there are not going to be slides in front of us when we are taking the last breath. So Bhagavan says, take shelter, take my shelter, but he wants to, for sake of completeness, he wants to say, take shelter of the Paramātmā. Paramātmā means in the heart, Bhagavan, who is present, the most significant presence that Bhagavan has in the material world all the time. Now, he comes as an avatar, as an incarnation in his original spiritual form, but that is only when, what again in the Bhagavatam discussions we have discussed, is the Prakash Vigraha or the Prakash form. But in his aprakat form, he is present everywhere all the time, but he's aprakat. He is not present physically. So in the Paramatma form, however, Bhagavan is present everywhere at all times in the material world. So therefore, bhakti in essence that we may do in our life can also be done towards Paramatma. So bhakti towards Paramatma is a very, very big path. Lot of followers do bhakti to Paramatma. We say we want to do bhakti direct to Krishna. But there is bhakti of Paramatma as well, taking shelter of Paramatma. There is no path of taking shelter of Brahman. That is the difference. So one may take shelter of Paramatma, and that is what is being told here in these two verses, 61 and 62. Okay, so let's read that. So he's describing Paramatma now. Ishvaraha sarva bhutanam hriddeshe arjuna tishthati brahmayan sarva bhutani yantrarudhani mayaya. So now we are approaching the final message of Bhagavad Gita. So what is being told here? Ishvaraha sarva bhutanam. Ishvara, what is the real meaning of Ishwar? Not Bhagavan, not Supreme Lord. Ishwar means controller. That is Ishwar. The Sanskrit meaning of Ishwara is controller or the supreme controller. So Paramatma is the controller. How is he the controller? Because he's Anumanta. He is the permitter. One who is the controller. In the office also, the top person who signs on gives the final permission. Okay, you can do this or not do this. He's the highest person, If vice president says, no, you cannot do, but CEO says you can do. It's all about permission. It's all about permitting or making the choices. And the higher up you go, you have more authority. So Ishvara is this. That's why, because he can permit anything he wants, or disallow anything. He's the supreme controller. He's called permitter or Ishvara. So Ishvaraha Sarva Bhutanam is referring to Paramatma. And again we see more evidence. Hrid Deshe Arjuna Tishthati. He's sitting in the region of the heart. He's not saying Hridaye Arjuna Tishthati. In the heart, Hrid Deshe. This is a very clear reference that he's in the region of the heart, not like physically inside the heart, but in the region of the heart. Hrid Desha, location. Desh means location. Brahmayan Sarva Bhutani. And he is the one who is causing the movement of the physical living entity, the body of the living entity, Brahmayan. Otherwise, what is the point of Brahmayan? The movement of the physical body. So Paramatma is the link between the jiva and the physical world. This is a concept of Sankhya. So because of Paramatma, one is Brahmayan, one is moving around the world, but basically what it means is one is performing, or one is enacting, or one is engaging or interacting with the material world. It's because of Paramatma's presence. Yantra Rudhani Mayaya. Otherwise, he is moving this what? Body, yantra. It's just a machine. If you don't supply electricity to the machine, it won't work. So Paramatma is what is the link between a dead machine and a working machine. In a normal sense, what is the difference between dead machine and working machine? Electricity. What is providing the energy or the link? So Paramatma is that link which is causing this machine, yantra, made of maya, made of just material energy. It's just like a machine, is causing it to move around and interact with the material world because of Paramatma. So Paramatma, Ishvaraha Sarva Bhutanam, he's the supreme controller. Hriddeshe Arjuna Tishtati, he's sitting in the location of the heart, and he is causing this bodily machine to interact with the material world, to move around, and so on. And to the next verse, so first he has described Paramatma, the characteristics or the points about Paramatma, what he does, what is his function. Then he is saying, take his shelter. So 62, Tameva Sharanam Gacha, to that person, that Paramatma, Tameva Sharanam Gacha, Sarva Bhavena Bharata, with lot of love, with lot of bhava. Take his shelter. Tat prasadat param shantim sthanam prapsyasi shashvatam. So same thing he's saying as if it was Krishna. If you replace Paramatma with Śrī Kṛṣṇa, this will become the Bhagwan realization. Okay. So in that sense, bhakti to Paramatma and bhakti to Śrī Kṛṣṇa is quite similar, but there is a whole class of sadhakas that do bhakti of Paramatma. I have met few of them, but they consider these avatars, these like Krishna, Rama, etc. They basically are attached to bhakti of Paramatma, and they consider the incarnations or Rama, Krishna, Narsingha as subservient to Paramatma, or as various forms of Paramatma. May not be subservient, equal to, but various forms of Paramatma. So ultimate, their topmost goal is to do bhakti of that Paramatma. So that is what is being mentioned here. Tameva Sharanam Gacha, to that Paramatma take his Sharan, take his shelter. And Sarva Bhavena, with full of bhava. Tat prasadat, now because of his mercy, so there is mercy aspect here. It's not all on your own, unlike Brahman realization. So tat prasadat param shantim, you will attain the topmost shanti or the topmost bliss, sthanam prapsyasi shashvatam, and a place that you will attain that supreme destination which is eternal. So we have not been reading the translations by Śrīla Prabhupāda. We'll read this one. O scion of Bharata, surrender unto him utterly. By his grace, you will attain the transcendental peace and the supreme and eternal abode. So this is known as the Vaikuṇṭha realization or the Vaikuṇṭha attainment. Okay. Now the difference, as far as I understand, is that there is no rasa in this relationship or in this attainment of Vaikuṇṭha. One just experiences bliss. There is no service in various rasas. Now, in all the rasas, dasya is inherent. Even Mother Yashoda is serving Krishna. Srimati Radharani in Madhurya is serving Krishna. The Sakhas in Sakhya Ras are also serving Krishna. Dasya are, of course, serving Krishna. So there is that mood of not serving or pleasing Krishna. That is what is absent in this Vaikuṇṭha or Paramātmā realization. Okay, now the other ones are also called Vaikuṇṭhas, like abode of Lord Narayana, where one is serving Lord Narayana. That will become the Bhagavan realization. So Vaikuṇṭha is a generic term, but when one attains this Vaikuṇṭha planet, there is no notion of reciprocation with Bhagavan as such. It is just a feeling of spiritual bliss. And there is no rasa in a specific form or in a specific mood. So that is the difference between Paramatma realization and Bhagavan realization. Now, Śrī Kṛṣṇa wants to stop here. And in verse number 63, he says, Iti te jnanam akhyātam guhyat guhyataram maya vimrishya itad asheshena yatha ichhasi tatha kuru. So he says, Iti te jnanam akhyātam guhyat guhyataram maya. So I have described akhyātam, this whole jnana, which is guhya and guhyataram. So now the two levels have been shown. Guhya was the first one, Brahman. Guhyatara means good, better, best. So good and better, or level 1 and level 2 have been shown. Guhyataram maya, by me. So I have shown you this. Vimrishya itad asheshena. Asheshena means take as much time as you want. Now, or, think as long or think as much, as deeply or as long, whatever. Asheshena means there is no limit. Just think about it very carefully, what I have told you. Vimrishya, like you say, vichar, vimarsh. So vimrishya is that vimarsh. Deliberate on it. Asheshena, fully. And then yath ichhasi tatha kuru. And then decide whatever you want to do. Then make your final decision. It's yours. So Krishna is putting the final responsibility on Arjuna. Arjuna is not being pressurized by Krishna. This is the verse which I mentioned. There is no gun. There is no force on Arjuna's head. Arjuna is being given full free opportunity to make a choice or decision for his own future, what he wants to do. So translation, thus I have explained to you the knowledge, still more confidential. Deliberate on this fully and then do what you wish to do. So two main points in this verse, that Śrī Kṛṣṇa has completed the explanation of two levels, Brahman and Paramātmā, Guhyat, Guhyataram, or it's more confidential than the Guhyat, which basically means the previous one. And then he's saying, think about it. It's your choice. So then Krishna, the second point is, Krishna is putting the accountability of the final choice on Arjuna. Bhagavan never decides for us. This is the verse in Bhagavad Gita which indicates free will. Bhagavan will guide. Arjuna had the benefit of having direct Bhagavan guiding. We all have the benefit of Paramatma guiding, but Paramatma will not make the choice for us. Even for the dearest devotee, Bhagavan does not make the choice. He leaves. He will give maximum guidance, maximum possible guidance. He will even tell you, this is the right answer for you. Ultimately, you have to mark the answer. He will not say, come on, step aside, I will do it for you. No, you have to make the choice. So this is, even though if it is tiny amount of free will, it is still there with us. Bhagavan can tell us all he wants, influence us, convince us, everything. But still we have the final choice. Okay. Now comes the two most important verses of Bhagavad Gita. I think we will stop here and continue them next time. I don't think we can continue till the end today. So are there any questions? And I want to finish on time. Last time we went, I think, over time. So let's see if any questions or discussion. Otherwise, we'll end here. Yes, Rajvidya Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Of talking about when we say that, is it true that true to say that? Is it correct or accurate to say that as per Gauḍīya philosophy, liberation is only given by Śrī Kṛṣṇa?
Liberation means as per Gauḍīya philosophy, I'm assuming again Brahman and Paramātmā are out. And yes, as per Gauḍīya Vaiṣṇava philosophy, only now Lord Ram can also give liberation. So the thing that is said is that when a demon is killed by the hands of Bhagavan, only in that case, in Krishna, when Krishna kills someone, automatically one gets liberation. But that killing has to happen only at the hands of Krishna. But by mercy, even Lord Ram can give liberation, of course. But by killing, when the opponent is not asking for liberation, when he is opposing Bhagavan, he does not get liberated when killed by anybody else other than Śrī Kṛṣṇa. In Śrī Kṛṣṇa's case, whether they ask or don't ask, just because they got killed by Krishna, even if they wanted to kill Krishna, like Putana and so many other demons, the 10th canto is full of demons, they all got liberation because they were killed by Krishna, if that's what you were asking. But yes, other incarnations, Lord Nrsimhadev gave the blessing to Prahlad Maharaj that yes. So they are all liberated. They can give liberation, but to demons only Krishna can liberate by killing.
And probably, so is it like, you mentioned that only when they go to Goloka Vṛndāvana, that rasa element is there. Otherwise, liberation is, there is only dasya rasa.
No. I didn't say that only in Golok. So can you refine your question?
What is the difference between getting liberated and going to Goloka Vṛndāvana and getting liberated and going to other Vaikuṇṭhas?
That depends on one's mood, what one was aspiring for. So depends on what kind of liberation one is aspiring for. Bhagavan will give that kind of liberation. There is this verse which is quoted from Brahma Samhita. I will show. So from the last verse is there, second last, I think. Which one it is? Let me find it. Yeah, 61. Dharman anyan parityajya mam ekam bhaja vishwa san yadrishi shraddha siddhir bhavati tadrishi. So here we see that it is being said that yadrishi shraddha, that whatever is one's shraddha in, siddhir bhavati tadrishi, he gets that kind of siddhi. So when you're, I think what kind of you were asking is going to Goloka Vṛndāvana or elsewhere, that's not like decided by Bhagavan. That is decided by you. What you want to get, and you practice that bhakti to that form of Bhagavan, and you get go to their planet, to their Vaikuṇṭha planet. So if you do Krishna Bhakti, and in Krishna Bhakti also there are multiple types. If you do Dvārakā Krishna Bhakti, you will go to Dvārakā Dham. If you do Vraj Krishna Bhakti, you will go to Goloka Vṛndāvana. Both are also Krishna, but they have different planets. There is also Mathura Dham. So if you do Mathura Bhakti, you go to Mathura Dham, Mathura Krishna Bhakti. So there are these subtleties about Bhakti. Now, Gauḍīya Vaiṣṇava Sampradaya, Gauḍīya Vaiṣṇava philosophy, the topmost Bhakti is not Dvārakā Krishna Bhakti, not Mathura Krishna Bhakti, but Vraj Krishna. And the main point there is because Bhagavan is not considered to be Bhagavan. This is another important point of Gauḍīya Vaiṣṇava teachings. Bhagavan is just a human. And we have done a lot of discussion on this over many, many series in Bhagavatam classes that I have been doing for last almost 1 year. This topic has been the central topic of Naratva versus Aishwarya. That is the main identifying aspect of Vraj Krishna versus Dvārakā Krishna. So those are but the point is, whatever you have been aspiring for, that you attain. So the choice is you. You make the choice. Bhagavan doesn't say, "Oh, you know what? I like your face like this, so you get Ayodhyā. Oh, you go get Dvārakā. You get." It's not like a It's not going to be a surprise for you.
So Prabhuji, just there's some background. We were having a discussion earlier. So even in Gauḍīya, one can have a Ishtadev as Ram and still attain liberation.
No, Gauḍīya Vaiṣṇava means Krishna only. You can have then you need to, that you need to find a guru who is going to give you instructions on how to get closer to Śrī Rāma. It is unlikely going to be in Gauḍīya Sampradaya. Gauḍīya Sampradaya is Śrī Kṛṣṇa, and that too Vraj Krishna only. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the fountainhead of Gauḍīya Vaiṣṇava Sampradaya. He came to give 4 rasas with Śrī Kṛṣṇa. All of them are Vraj rasas, which is Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. With Vraj Krishna only. That too through Raga Bhakti, not even Vaidhi Bhakti. All this is there in Chaitanya Charitamrita. We will cover it in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Yeah. All right. Sorry, you have another thing?
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Archi Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So I don't know my question is correct or not. I think you mentioned about the follower, like whoever is doing Paramātmā Bhakti, they don't have the rasa feeling in that.
Rasa means, for rasa, reciprocation has to be there. Rasa means it's like a flowing. So both two bidirectional flowing. Krishna is also getting rasa, you are also getting rasa. So yes, in other words, you can say reciprocation. Yes, reciprocation and rasa are missing. Yes, go ahead.
So yeah, my question was like, if that that reciprocation or rasa is missing, then how one is still following that, if I don't feel that connection or reciprocation, I won't be able to continue something. So
not true.
If I'm confused.
Rasa means, yeah, so that is the rasa, material rasa we have been accustomed to. So we need reciprocation to do anything. So you are right, but that is in the material world, we expect this variety, and we do something, we get something. This whole concept of service is there. Śrīla Prabhupāda used to say that, yes, even an ordinary person wants to serve his dog. So that is very natural within us. So therefore, service to Bhagavan or connecting with the Bhagavan realization is most natural for living beings. But those who attain Paramātmā realization, they enjoy the bliss through the body of Bhagavan. So the personal Bhagavan as Paramātmā, as the Chaturbhuj Bhagavan, they enjoy through that, but there is no reciprocation with a person there. There is no person to reciprocate with. If you read for example, activities of Golok Dham in the spiritual world, for example, the Ashtakaliya Leela, the eightfold pastimes, you will see what all goes on there, how in the morning, Krishna is, going to Mother Yashoda, or how Mother Yashoda is packing the lunch and doesn't want Krishna to go to the forest and says, today you shouldn't. All that, that whole temporary separation is there. Krishna goes to the forest. What all he does there. With his friends, he goes, he comes back. There is so much rasa there. There is so much reciprocation. And all this is going on in the spiritual world. None of this goes on in the Paramātmā realization.
Yeah, I get it.
But one is very, very blissful. The same question can be asked with more emphasis on Brahman realization. Then there is even more no reciprocation. There is not even an individual existence from the Advaita standpoint. What is the fun in that? One can ask. What is the happiness there? So that's why those are hard to understand. So, but this Paramātmā realization is not within the scope of Gauḍīya Vaiṣṇava teachings. Therefore, there is no much need to go into the details of that.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
All right. Anything else? Okay. Then thank you very much for your time. Next class will be the last class. We will complete the chapter that will complete Bhagavad Gita. And thank you for the journey. Now, one last point, announcement. This Sunday, we are starting a new Bhagavad Gita batch. It's not part of Bhakti Shastri. It's just for beginners and just the basic concepts of each chapter. So in 10 sessions, and literally 10 sessions, we will complete all the concepts of Bhagavad Gita. So if you want, and this is in person only, no Zoom, no nothing, only in person. So it's for Portland people who live close to where we live, who can come there in person. So it will be on Sunday evenings at 5 p.m. in person only. I'm trying this out to go back to the pre-COVID time when there was no Zoom, nothing. Before COVID, I didn't even know what Zoom was. Zoom just meant like zoom in, like camera zoom, 2x, 5x zoom. So camera lens, that's only Zoom I knew. So we are going back to that, and I'm going to try it out and see how it goes. If you have your friends or whatever is interested, it's for beginners. So don't, just come for fun or something. It's really for beginners. Evaluate how much beneficial it might be for you, because you have already gone through this. But if you have friends whom you want to join, you can talk to my wife or send her a message and she can tell how to enroll. It's free of cost, of course. Yeah. So that's what is starting this Sunday, coming Sunday. Yes, Arora Prabhu, you have a question?
Prabhuji, there are 4 sampradayas mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, and we belong to Brahm Sampradaya, and Gauḍīya are in the same Brahm Sampradaya.
Okay,
Śrī Sampradaya is Ramanujacharya.
Yes.
So, where is the headquarters of Śrī Sampradaya?
In Srirangam, in Tamil Nadu.
Sampradaya and the other 2 Sampradayas.
Okay. Some background noise. So you're asking where is the headquarters of Śrī Sampradaya? Headquarters of Śrī Sampradaya is in
right.
Srirangam, in South India, in Tamil Nadu. Okay. The head
And yeah,
for Madhva. Yeah. For
Rudra
for Brahma Madhva Sampradaya, the headquarters are in Udupi. For Rudra Sampradaya, my understanding is that the headquarters are in Rameshwaram. And you also said that we are part of the Brahma Sampradaya. So that's the Brahma Madhva Sampradaya. Gauḍīya Sampradaya is considered to be closest to Brahma Madhva Sampradaya, but it has some differences. So it's called Brahma Madhva Gauḍīya Sampradaya. But the teachings of Gauḍīya Sampradaya are very similar to Brahma Madhva Sampradaya, but there are some meaningful differences as well. So the headquarter of the Gauḍīya Sampradaya is in Mayapur, the birthplace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And there are not only 4 sampradayas, four Vaishnava sampradayas. These are the primary or the major, the most important 4 Vaishnava sampradayas. There are others also, like, for example, the Gauḍīya Sampradaya. It is closest to Brahma Madhva Sampradaya, but it is technically also not Brahma Madhva Sampradaya. It's its own Sampradaya. So again, we can, go into details of all the Vaishnava Sampradayas at some other time.
and sir,
Your audio is very bad. You can ask the question next time. Your audio
is the one by 4 Sanat Kumara.
Your audio is very bad, Prabhuji. So you can send a WhatsApp message and then we'll take up your question next week. You can listen to the recording and see what I said in response. I'm not sure if you're able to hear me properly.
Okay.
But you can send the question and I will take it up next time. I cannot understand because of audio issues. All right. Hare Krishna. All right. I think,
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. 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 Thank you. Anybody else? Anything? Anybody else? All right. Theek hai. We'll see you all next week for the final class. Śrīla Prabhupāda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Prabhuji. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Mataji.